This race still very undecided.
The bottom lane just doesn't have enough cars now. The rules have been in reverse.
They're running out of time and they know it.
How about Noah Mikulski in the 03? He can easily fit in this battle. The bottom surges to the inside. Now pulls even with Hutton off the turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.
Banks doesn't have a push. Hutton, can he do it off of turn 4? Right, giving him another push. They stack him to the outside. And the line, checkered flag, Banks surges to the bottom.
Saturday Night Racing League live, getting ready to grid here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and we're going live here on V-Speed, flag-to-flag coverage for 140 laps, 210 miles, race 3 out of 20, and we might have another first-time winner here tonight, as we have Eric Hutton and Jeff Wright on that list. The West Coast Swing midway through. We concluded the race last week at Auto Club Speedway. Now getting ready to line up and grid, and it's no surprise, last week's winner, mile-and-a-half expert Jeff Wright, starting on the pole here tonight with Alex Bell on his outside. Whoops, wrong button. Let's go ahead and clear that out. Declaring that one a little early, huh? All right, there it is. There's the proper work. So Jeff Wright and Alex Bell, 29.961. There's 200ths of a second separating these two. Starting in row number 2, it's going to be Bailey Turner with Chad Klinger in the 4th position. 5th spot, Daytona winner Eric Hutton going to be starting in row number 3 with Ryan Carwile in 6th. Jonathan Cofield and Taylor Butcher Benjamin in 8th, 7th, and 8th respectively, and then rounding out your top 10 is Ray Massey with Caleb Weekly. Asa Licata starting 11th with AJ Stravado in 12th. Jonathan Smith in 13th with Joseph McWhorter, 14th position. Reggie Ortega and Stephen McDonald, 15th and 16th. Then 17th, 18th position, Tim Downey, PJ O'Leary. 19th, Lucas Loynes and Hunter Johnson. 21st, Max Cost, and Chuck Sweeting making an appearance in 22nd. 23rd will be Aaron Gerwitz, Michael Kostek in the 24th position. 25th, Ed Trejo with Eddie Smith in 26th. Clifton Cockrell, 27th position. Daniel Cunningham, 28th. 29th will be Adam Lange with Mark McFadden, 30th. And rounding out your field here tonight, all the way back here in 31st position, will be the 56 of James Loveland. So getting ready to start this thing up. Down the back straightaway they go. Jeff Wright leading them around this place. Geico restart zones are on. Leaders have to maintain pace speed. We've got some throwback paints out here on the track here tonight. And joining me in the booth is Connor Horn here tonight. Good to have you in here, Connor.
Yeah, good to be here. Heck of a day, I will say that at least, but it's going to be an exciting race. I love Gen 4 racing, Las Vegas. This is where I first saw this Gen 4 kind of be leaked on the iRacing, and obviously no surprise to see Jeff Wright on the pole here tonight.
Oh, setting up, green flag in the air to go live racing. Saturday Night Racing League at Las Vegas. Coming around to lead lap number 1, Jeff Wright puts it down. The 24 Bailey Turner looking like teammates out there right now, but they're actually rivaling each other If you look at the BTDY standings, these guys have been battling all season long, but here they are joining Hendrick Motorsports together.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to see, and no surprise, these 2007 paint schemes, it's the 48 out ahead of a 24. My young Jeff Gordon fandom hates that, but Bailey didn't have anything for right there on the top line. He even had a big wiggle out of turn number 4, but he's able to maintain the runner-up spot. But Chad Klinger, Alex Bell still side by side.
Bell last week's race got a little cut short, got a little bit of damage, ended up falling back. But here tonight, right up on the bumper of the Chad Klinger had a handful coming off a two.
Yeah, that was really close. You get right behind someone out of a corner, it gets them really sideways, and Klinger was lucky not to go around there. He's trying to maintain that outside line on the 15, but the 15's good short run driver, Alex Bell is, so it's going to be tough to keep him behind as you see these top two kind of get away a little bit from this battle.
So I'm sharing my screen in Discord, and we're watching this battle in third and fourth position, but we go back here a little bit further. You have to go almost all the way back to the 12th position with Stravato on the inside of, I believe that's the 73 of Joseph McWhorter. They're pretty single filed out. Guys complained during practice this thing was very slick. They were going to burn the right rear off of it. Kind of seems like a product of what Auto Club had.
Yeah, it's going to be similar to what Auto Club had, but you don't have as much maneuverability as Auto Club. Obviously, not as wide of a track. You kind of only have maybe 2.5, maybe 3 lanes if you're completely lucky, but you're not going to be able to really run the wall as freely as you want to here, so you're going to be really searching for grip pretty early on. If you don't have the bottom lane working, you're not going to have many lanes working here.
Stravato moving up 2 positions since the start of this race. Started 12th. A little bit of action going on in front of him. I believe that's, Ray Massey, Jonathan Cofield. These guys working around each other, and I think that's Tyler Benjamin. Yeah, and it's tight. It's locked up here just outside the top 10.
Yeah, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, the one on the bottom, the Cheetos Flamin' Hot car, under Ray Massey. He really sent it to the bottom. They almost made contact into turn 3, and Butcher Benjamin's got now Joseph McWhorter all over his rear bumper. As you can see, everyone's pretty single file, but part of that is that everyone's going to get really stacked up entering these corners, and we're seeing that already. Yeah,
it's stacking up the field with the 33 now to the outside. We watched him working his way up through here. Seems like some of these guys struggling, had good qualifying laps. These tires are falling off quickly. Tim Carr, he's lost 3 spots since the beginning of this race.
Yeah, you can see he's kind of struggling. He is on the bottom where I would think you would want to be, but I don't think he's pushing hard enough to really be able to defend these positions. And when someone gets to your outside at Las Vegas, especially in turns 1 and 2, it's really hard to defend. The bumps on the bottom of 1 and 2 are so hard to navigate, even in a normal, current gen stock car, even Gen 6. There's big cut by McWhorter to get in front of the 10 machine, but it's so hard to get the bottom working 1 and 2. Those bumps are very volatile.
We were riding on the back of Alex Bell's machine. He's fallen back to the 5th position. He wasn't the back bumper of Chad Klinger, but the guy that's on the move right now, that's the 88. Daytona winner, Eric Hutton. He's starting to catch up to these leaders, slowly but surely.
Wow, there's some wild stuff going on. But yeah, the 88's looking pretty fast right now. He's one of the more underrated drivers. He beat him for a championship in Virtual Racing League so many years ago at this point. He is very underrated. When he wants to try and win a race, he can very easily do it. Up to 4th right now, and he's pulling away from Bell, who seems to be holding up a lot of drivers right now. These top 4 are putting on a clinic right now, just inching ahead of the rest of the field.
Watching Bell come off the corner right now. He's got the 56 of Jonathan Cofield. A mirror full of them as they come off of turn 2. And we saw some crazy cuts. We've seen some crazy battles still happening here with the 23 of Ray Massey falling out of the top 10. And that's the 2 of Reggie Ortega, who pushes him up the track a little bit. And the 23 almost gets into the wall on the exit of 4.
Yeah, these guys are flirting with disaster right now. That will not last much longer, those moves with the tires wearing the way they are. You won't get away with that for much longer. Ortega definitely won't for sure. And he was fortunate Ray Massey gave him a break there, and it lets Taylor Butcher Benjamin get away with an extra position there. Gets up back to the 11th position.
Just behind them, guys moving through the field. This guy right here started back at 22nd up to 20th. This field stayed pretty well grouped. It's the top 4 who haven't run away all that much. There's only a couple tenths separating them as you see Bell gets passed by Cofield now. That's kind of filled that gap up that was forming with the top 4. Now Eric Hutton kind of thought Hutton was going to pull the rear caboose, I guess, if you will, of this top 4, and they were going to pull away, but now Jeff Wright's starting to look like he's feeling the tire wear.
Yeah, I don't know if he's feeling the tire wear or maybe just trying to preserve it that much. He sees Chad Klinger making that pass on the outside of Bailey Turner. It could be Bailey saving his tires, letting his 09 go around, and I think I would not be surprised if Jeff Wright notices that and slowed his pace down even more just to make sure he has the best tires for if we get a long run here, as it's instead of a top 4 being packed up, it looks like it's the top 9 who've separated themselves from Ortega.
Back here to Reggie Ortega, the 2, and that's about a 5/10 of a second gap, half a second right now. But Ortega, remember, had to get around the 23 of Massey, and that took a little bit. That move kind of held him, I guess, the slide job. It's going to be tough to pass now. 14 laps into this race, the right rear is probably all but burnt off of it. And these guys are probably below, some of these guys, the way they're driving, below 80% on the tire wear.
Oh yeah, 80% might be generous. It could be even worse at this point, close to 15 laps in, and you got to be careful trying a different line like Taylor Butcher Benjamin did in turns 1 and 2. He tried the top line. That's going to hurt it even more, and at this point in a run, you might not even be gaining enough time to make that even worthwhile, so you got to be careful when you're trying lines like that as here it goes to the top again, nearly followed by Case Lakatos down there in 13th. Haven't talked about him yet, but you're starting to see a lot of drivers really commonly go to that bottom line to make sure they do not burn everything off their tires. But that 10 machine, at least in 1 and 2, he's still searching, but you're not seeing many drivers go to the top in 3 and 4.
Get back through the field a little bit. There's the 25 of Tim Downey. A little bit of battles going on behind them. The 11 of Eddie Smith. He's on the outside now, passing Michael Kostek. We've got 31 cars here in the field tonight, all still running. Clean and green, 16 laps into this event. And as they go into turn 3, it's a Jeff Wright show. Again, he's doing well, but it's not over yet.
Not over yet whatsoever. Still got to get a long run in here and see what his tire wear is looking like. It was last week with Joshua Banks. He had to fend off, and hopefully Banks might have had the better car, but the 48, no doubt, he might have still had a better car, but also had the better strategy, which ended up winning him that race. We're yet to see what Chad Klinger can do with the 48 machine, and Bailey Turner's still lurking there as well, but now all of a sudden it's looking like these top 3 are the ones pulling away because Hutton's starting to struggle, and Cofield and Alex Bell are trying to make their move.
Yeah, and the name that you just mentioned there with Joshua Banks not making it here tonight. So he had a great points day in both races and has a drop week for Vegas. I would say most likely some of these guys are racing in real life and they're making time to vacation. It's summertime. It's definitely summertime, and I'm going to be honest with you, though. This Canadian air keeps blowing in. Connor, I don't know if you guys are getting a piece of this or not, but it was 64 degrees in June 2 days ago.
I don't know about
the high.
I don't know about, if we're talking last week, I don't know if we need that Canadian air coming down into the States.
Yeah, right?
That wasn't really pleasant, but yeah, definitely feeling summery right now, even where I am in New Jersey. But someone who's feeling probably pretty good right now is Bailey Turner, who I believe is still in Nashville, and he's looking pretty fast right now. He just passed Chad Klinger. I believe we saw it on track, the pass for the second position. Now he looks like he wants to push those tires and challenge his, I guess, Hendrick Motorsports teammate.
Yeah, battle for the lead, and I saw Eric Hutton and Alex Bell were side by side for a brief second there. But now the battle for the lead heats up. Bailey Turner, he's no slouch in Vegas, and I talked to Jeff Wright pre-race. I said, are you going to go back-to-back, or is somebody else we're going to get another first-time winner? And he mentioned two names. Stravato and Turner. So that should put it in perspective for you, that these guys, he's got a little fear for him. Right now, he's really fearing it. 24 is coming off the corner, and I'm trying to get a front-end camera. There we go.
That's a solid camera. And you talk about I don't know if he's referencing speed, being scared of speed, or paint schemes, because the 24 paint scheme and also Stravado's paint scheme looking super solid. But yeah, those two are definitely one of the fastest drivers I've ever had to deal with in my sim racing career. Bailey Turner, no slouch, obviously pretty sporty in the Monday Night Racing League the previous season, and he's trying to make it work in this league so far. And he's looking pretty good down to the bottom on Jeff Wright's first real battle we've seen for the lead since lap 1.
Yep. Not able to complete the pass, though, and it seems like the bottom just doesn't have the run off the corner. Scrubs up the track, and he's going to fall back in line, try to get that momentum. Jeff Wright is very much aware of this. Notice the higher line in 1 and 2. He's letting the 24 get a run, but he's going to play a little defensive on that line and not let him get that exit.
Yeah, this is looking really good so far. Klinger starts to fall off. Bella's not really keeping up with the top 3 either. Carwile going under Cofield. That's for the 6th position. I've really been looking at the battle for about 17th on back. It is pretty wild back here still. It almost looks like we're coming down for another initial start, as they're still kind of 2x2 here, kind of led by Tim Downey Jr., who is now in the 17th position. Stephen McDonald, Eddie Smith, number of drivers still battling for position.
Going off of turn 4, here's the 26. He was almost 3 wide there for a brief second. That Irwin, the Crown Royal Irwin machine. The throwback.
It's a good one. They can't miss it. One of my favorites from my childhood. He's making it look good on the bottom. Wow, that was a wiggle from Jonathan Smith, but he's able to collect it. Smart driving. Ooh, let's not speak too soon. We're going to go 3 wide. That's not very smart for lap 24, but unfortunately that Crown Royal car has got to give in. Aaron Gerwitz is the one who just did not want to part at 3 wide this early.
Hey, I'm fine with the risky calls. Bring those ratings up. Get these guys 3 wide. Get the blood pumping. The 20, which I believe would be labeled as the 31 of P.J. O'Henry, and that 20 Tony Stewart machine was in the middle of that mix. The 26 thought better of it. He backed out and ended up losing a position to the 56 of James Loveland.
I think he probably realized that if he does not back out, he might lose a race car. So probably the better decision this early on in a race. We still got a long way to go as O'Leary to the bottom. He's going to be able to maybe clear Jonathan Smith. Not quite, as funny on my screen that O'Leary is car number 31 but showing 20, but the one who's showing 20 is actually in the 72. So all sorts of car numbers going on here as these guys are still 2x2. This is wild stuff.
Yep, it's definitely back up here to the 7th position. I think it's the paint schemes, the throwback paint schemes, changing everybody's numbers up. And this week for the broadcast, we're just going to have some numbers be a little off. I'm sure it'll go back to normal next week. But here we are, 7th position. AJ Stravado working his way up from the 12th position. And we mentioned that earlier. He's chipping away 1 lap at a time. Jeff Wright, he hasn't pulled away from Bailey Turner. Still about 1/10 of a second. But it's going to be really tough to pass. And I want to say that Jeff is probably feeling the tire wear is the same as Bailey Turner is. These guys are going to probably stay single file for the remainder of this green flag run.
I would not be surprised if they do, that's for sure. It seems like Turner has pace to stay with them, but you know, catching's one thing, passing's another, and it seems like he's not getting enough of a run to even have an attempt at passing anymore. Chad Klinger's kind of just creeping there. He's also another one where he doesn't have any pace to catch a 24, and it just kind of continues a chain where Bell can't get the Klinger, Hutton can't get the Bell, Carwile's dropped off a decent bit, then Stravado, who's still working his way up 5 positions from where he started, kind of what we saw at Auto Club before his kind of half spin out of turn 4.
Yeah, he made Auto Club way harder than it needed to be. He dug himself back for a podium after spinning twice, I believe.
No, it was only one time.
It was only once? I thought he got one on pit road too.
That was Chuck Sweeting, I believe. 33 kept it clean on pit road, as far as I know. But yeah, that was as wild as a podium as you could get at Auto Club of all places.
That's it's just one of those events where if it goes green, you don't recover from that. So thankfully, we had that one caution that put the 33 back in contention, able to recover and keep his season going. Now Jeff Wright starting to turn on the afterburners. 0.3 of a second, pulling ahead of Bailey Turner. Chad Klinger now looking to get to the inside. He's getting up on the bumper.
PJ O'Leary came over the radio saying y'all are crazy. He was 3 wide into turn number 3, so I think that's what caused it. He's down to 26th after just making sure to save his car as Lucas Lyons comes off of pit road. A few drivers actually coming off of pit road. Clifton Cockrell, drivers in the back pitting on lap 30, maybe a little early, not quite sure. But fuel mileage is not going to take it nearly close to lap 70, so it is probably looking like maybe a 2 to 3 stop. So we might see varying strategies as that 48, like you were talking about, is starting to pull away just a little bit.
Right on board with Max Cost at the pack that O'Leary said was crazy. And we're getting a good look at it. Watch him. 2x2 it's been the run since probably lap 1. They haven't stopped.
Yeah, it was 17th on back. Now it's only, I say only, it's only 20th on back as they're still battling hard here. Kostek, Weekly, Daniel Cunningham, Jonathan Smith, Gerwitz is still there. Eddie Trejo's been ripping top for a few laps now in that Kingsford machine. Not quite working how he wants it to, as these drivers are really risking it running the top line and also wiggling off the corner as hard as they are. This is still a crazy battle.
Get the good look at the driver camera and watch how much the wheel's being worked here. The 21 of Eddie Trejo coming off of turn 2. I think it's going to be a better look in 3 and 4 as he looked loose on that high line.
Got some pit stops here. 8th place, Joseph McWhorter is going to be one of the first front runners, I would say, to come in from 8th. Then Ortega is going to bring down a lot of drivers. This is definitely looking like a potential 3 stop here from how early these drivers are pitting.
So down to his pit stall. Joseph McWhorter going to kind of start this, fire it off. The 2 of Ortega in as well.
Would not be surprised if this brings in a lot of other leaders. Wright, Klinger, Turner stay out. Hutton pits from about 5th. By the way, Chad Klinger. Oh, we got a spin on pit entry.
Oh, that's Ray Massey. He spins it on the entry, locks up the front. We saw that at Auto Club as well.
Goodness. Look out, everyone else coming on the pit road. Not a time you want to enter pit road when there's a car sideways, but it seems like everyone got away with it.
Yeah, the 23, lucky that he slid to the inside. Nobody else hit him. But the 23 also unlucky because he went from about the 10th position. He's going to lose roughly 10 spots. It's going to be tough.
And here comes everyone else who was still in the top 5. Right, Klinger, Turner, Bell, Stravato making up a lot of ground on entry there. As I'm honestly surprised by this. I thought we'd see maybe 2 stops, but this is looking like a 3-stop race at the least. We might even see 4 stops tonight.
The traffic working its way out. Now 3 wide. The 24 trying to get to his stall. And he's got Bell to the inside.
Oh, they hit.
Oh, no.
They made contact, Bell and Turner. And that's pretty big damage on the left front of Bailey Turner.
We're going to have to go back and take a look at that. Oh, Turner's still struggling to get into his box.
He's still not in it. It's going to kill his race. Let's see what happened here. This is what happens when you get a busy pit road, Bracken.
15 of Bell, yeah, they make contact, and I saw that happening with those cars coming out of their stalls, and it was a recipe for someone to get, I guess, for lack of a better term, screwed over. That's exactly what just happened, and the 24 not able to hit his stall, and what a struggle there. Bailey Turner just put himself in a bad situation now.
Yeah, that's the product of having pretty much everyone pit on the same lap. I mean, everyone was on pit road. It was like a yellow flag pit stop, and Bailey was having to let people go. The 15 was still trying to power into his stall. And obviously, Bailey had earlier stall. Actually, no, Bell had to stall after Bailey, so he ends up trying to shoot under the 24. I think no one knew whose stall was where, and that's how confusing it can get under green when everyone pits. It's not something we usually see.
Now I'm having flashbacks to one of the only races I had ever went to in real life, the 24. I was a fan as well. I remember Bristol in 2000. Steve Park had the first pit stall right ahead of Jeff Gordon, who was leading the race. And this is back when the tires could be left on the right front. I don't know if you remember that or not, but when they would complete a pit stop, the right front tire could be left where it was. They could just lay it on its side, and actually the right rear. So Steve Park's pit crew left that tire layout there a little further than usual. Gordon hit it, and it had almost identical damage to what Bailey Turner's car has right here.
Yeah, and I gotta say, good job on having a realistic damage model. It looks exactly like they hit a tire, although he did hit a car, but it's definitely big left front fender damage there. It's gonna really hurt his performance unless he gets an opportunity to repair it. But the way it's going, not looking like we're gonna get that anytime soon. And oh, by the way, as everything's cycled out, Joseph McWhorter is actually taking the lead from Jeff Wright.
Yeah, and he's got it by 0.5 of a second. 2-lap difference on tires. McWhorter on and off pit road, clean and fast. He's going to be the beneficiary of those green flag pit stops, which started about lap 31. We wrapped him up at lap 38. Joseph McWhorter maintaining that gap over Jeff Wright. I was going to say Jeff kind of, the situation, Jeff wasn't going to have the 24 on his bumper anymore. He could breathe easy, but here it is. Joseph McWhorter takes over the lead. Now Jeff's got to go chase him.
Not only that, Chad Klinger was able to stay with the 48, but meanwhile after that, it really spread things out. The flurry in the pit road. Travado, he's kind of one of the bigger winners in that. He was 7th, now he's up to 4th, a little ways off those top 3, but still up into the P4 position. Then Hutton, Bell, who was able to somewhat survive with some right front damage, but he's looking all right. Does not look nearly as bad as the 24's left front. But you could see how this has spread out the entire field, and it's really going to play a factor into how this race unfolds. By the way, about 19th on back. It's not as volatile and it's not as crazy, but they're probably the most packed up right now.
Ray Massey being one of the guys slid into pit road, so pit troubles for the 23 as well. We were talking about the spread after pit stops. It's 5 seconds to go back to 10th position. Jonathan Cofield. That's almost 6 seconds. That's how far these guys spread out. And Cofield now under fire. Jeff Wright catching up to him. I think McWhorter, apologize. Might have made a mistake, though, because the last we saw, it was 0.5 of a second. Now, Jeff Wright on the bumper.
McWhorter tried the middle to top in 1 and 2, and it did not work whatsoever. It gave Jeff Wright clean air on the bottom to get all the way back to his bumper, and then he gave clean air back to the 48 in 3 and 4, so I think this is going to give the 48 the lead back with almost no fight.
McWhorter back to 2nd. Al the 09. He's trying his luck. Chad Klinger trying to hang right with Jeff Wright. Klinger to the inside. Not much resistance, though, from the McWhorter machine. I thought for sure he would at least try to fight for that, but maybe he feels that it's just better to ride line this early in the race.
I think he's going to try to take advantage of the tire advantage he did get. He pit from 8th place, and he got to the lead, and now is still top 3 with a decent gap back to where he was. I think the best thing he could do right now is save those tires, make sure he keeps the track position that he gained, and maybe try to do it again on the next set of pit stops. It was a pretty big sequence he had, as he might want to look for the race for the lead. Klinger is really challenging the 48 here.
Off of turn 4, Klinger gets right up to the bumper, and this is kind of the same thing we saw with him and Bailey Turner a moment ago. Wright just kind of runs the defensive line on the exits of the corner, and nobody was able to get around him. Klinger going to try it again, maybe get a run, but everybody seems to be running a little bit lower through the exits of these corners, and Jeff just moving it up half a lane, kind of keeping the dirty air on him and saving those tires.
Yeah, really making sure to keep those tires on it. It seems like whenever someone challenges, as they lap the 71, Mark McFadden right there, it seems like whenever someone goes to challenge Jeff Wright for the race lead, he knows when to turn it up a notch. Everyone thinks he's still going fast when they're trying to catch him and thinking, oh gosh, I'm going to catch him for the lead. All of a sudden, he turns it up another notch. He goes another leg faster, something that you might not think is possible. With Jeff Wright, it is possible because he's just got absolute raw pace, and he's able to do that while not really hurting his tires that much.
Clean air, very beneficial. And you look at Chad Klinger, who's backed off of the 48 a little bit. That's probably to help that thing rotate. These cars very aero sensitive. If you get right up on the bumper of the guy, no air going to the nose, it'll feel tight. As soon as you back off a car length or two, car rotates great, gets a little loose. So it's kind of finding that cushion where you can save tires and maintain that gap, not let that leader run away. That's really the art of these cars, these older cars.
Yeah, the important thing about what Klinger's doing now is that it's kind of a good news, bad news thing. The good thing is that, a good thing, bad thing, I guess, is one way you could say it. Good thing, he's keeping clean air on that nose, especially out of the exit of 4, right? It washes up the track, and it gives the 09 some clean air to the left side of that front nose, and he can really dig in. Bad news about that is that he might be hurting his tires a little bit more because he's turning it harder to keep it lower than the 48. Meanwhile, Jeff Wright's kind of just casually getting the wheel kind of gradually unturned so he can get a straighter exit out of the corner and keep those tires, especially those right front tires that he's using tonight, out of harm's way and out of wearing more than they need to. So 48's doing what he needs to do, but Chad Klinger, he's doing what he can, basically trying to get as much clean air on that nose as possible as they pull away from the quarter.
Going back here to Bailey Turner in the 24 machine. He's in 25th position, trying to recover from that pit road incident. The 23 of Ray Massey is up to 18th. He's recovered a little bit of that position, but still not where he was before green flag pit stops. So we're at the halfway point, and you know what that means, Connor.
Oh, I know what it means.
All right, well, the fans at home, if you don't know what it means, it's time to bring the noise. Brought to you by Harpoon Designs. All right, so that brought to you by Harpoon Designs, and we were watching Chad Klinger there for a minute. I believe I lost audio for just a moment there. Not exactly sure.
Got some slow-mo action going there.
Yeah, we do. There we go. That's what happened. Okay.
That looks a lot better. It looks actually fast.
Yeah. Up to speed. Lots of buttons to accidentally press here on the iRacing service.
Up to
But
speed,
we
off
figured it out. Up to speed, and as we go through your top 10, Jeff Wright, who's led, well, I think he's led every single lap of this race. No, he hasn't. We had green flag pit stops, so there was the asterisk in that book, but Jeff Wright led 44 of them so far.
If he didn't need the pit for fuel and tires, he probably would be leading all these laps, but Chad Klinger is not letting him go. Jeff Wright's led all but 10 laps so far, but the 09 is the one driver right now keeping him honest. He's fallen off a little bit, but he's still able to keep the pressure on. He looks a tiny bit better, especially through turns 3 and 4. I say that as he wiggles out of turn 4. I think he looks better on that part of the track, but Jeff Wright pulled just all that and maybe a little bit more back through turns 1 and 2, just running a smoother line through there, as these two have kind of separated themselves from who was former third place, but now down to third place. We see AJ Stravado, who's all the way up from 12th starting position into this spot now, and he is looking like the next driver who could challenge that 48 and a 09 potentially.
Stravado starting back in 12th, and at Auto Club with that spin, and he actually qualified outside the top 20, I believe. So that's probably, what we talked about in the post-race interview. Qualifying, it is important. I know a lot of guys just don't take it serious. They're not out there to run that fast lap in practice, but it makes your life a lot easier when you're not having to pass so many cars, and it lessens that risk of getting caught up in something that it's not your fault.
Yeah, he was one who actually didn't qualify for Auto Club, if I'm not mistaken. So not only did he have to go through the entire field once, he had a half spin, and he had to do it again, and he still got third. So now we can see what type of speed he has with not really having to go through the entire field. Now up to a podium position once again. As we're talking about Joseph McWhorter, he really wasn't near the front on that first run. as the battle for the lead gets a tiny bit closer, but still no battle there. McWhorter was not really close to the front, pit from 8th place, short pit the leaders by 2 or 3 laps, and he got all the way up to the lead, and now he's still comfortably in 4th position, so net gain of 4 positions if it holds on to the next pit stop, and he's really got no competition for that because it's another about, I would say, 1.3 seconds to Alex Bell.
Yep. That's exactly what the interval's showing here in the 15. He's been strong. He showed a lot of speed at Auto Club. Just a little error there with the wall and kind of knocked the speed out of the 15. But here tonight in the top 5, still a great, solid performance for Alex Bell. We'll see what he can make of it, but we're talking about 3 seconds back from your top 2, Jeff Wright and Chad Klinger. Eric Hutton, Daytona winner. Missed Auto Club. Now out here tonight at Vegas, trying that higher line. Started in 5th. He hasn't lost anything really, but there's still a tremendous gap as he falls back a little bit from Alex Bell. I think that was the 40 machine passing in between them of Clifton Cockrell. He's being scored a lap down, so maybe an unscheduled pit stop for the 40.
I don't know if it was unscheduled. It seems like he's going for an even more extra pit stop because he's pit twice already, so it's just a strategy that he's looking for. Definitely spooked Hutton in the 3 last time by, made him lose time to that 15 machine, but Hutton still sits 6th. He lost a bit of time, the 81 of Ryan Carwell, who had a solid run at Auto Club, nothing special, but still had a show of a pretty decent amount of speed, and he's doing the same thing that he did at Auto Club. He's just showing some pretty decent speed, sitting a very comfortable 7th place right now with no one, I would say no one in sight. Jonathan Cofield is a little bit further behind him. The 81's looking really strong right now.
Jonathan Cofield, a name that we didn't talk too much about Daytona or Auto Club. Having himself an excellent performance, and I'm sure we'll get to familiarize ourselves with the last name Cofield with the 58 machine. Looking solid. 2 more cars here to talk about. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 10 car. He was looking very unsettled there at the start of this thing, but he's since leveled out in the 9th position. And then Reggie Ortega rounding out your top 10 in that Harpoon design. Speaking of Harpoon design, we like it bringing the noise. Anybody out there in chat, I hope you guys crank that up as loud as it'll go. It's just a great graphic. It's a great part of, I look forward to it all broadcast.
We really do aim to wake up everyone in your room. You have to turn it up, take your headphones out, then turn it up. If you don't wake everyone up, it's pretty much a failure. So
you did it wrong. If someone's not mad and telling you to turn it down, you did it wrong.
Indeed, yeah, that's exactly what I would say. So hopefully you guys did it right. Reggie Ortega's doing it right now in the top 10. Actually, no, not in the top 10. He's in the top 11 because Chuck Sweeting wanted to get on this a little bit. He's now, well, he is in the top 10, but just barely, as this is probably the most close battle on the track right now, as in being side by side. 75 is going to get the position away.
So there it is. Just as we talked about Reggie Ortega, Chuck Sweeting swiped it away. We could have mentioned his name, but Chuck started all the way back in 22nd position. So he's had his work cut out for him to get back to this top 10. Chuck, another guy. Tough break at Auto Club. Had it right there. Definitely a podium finish for the 75 team. Locked it up on pit road. Hit the inside wall. And that was all she wrote. He took it to the garage for the remainder of that race. But that's unfortunate because Chuck had a good race going.
He did have a good race going. It could have easily been him on the podium instead of Stravato, but he would not have been able to recover from that pit road incident by the time the race ended. So he's looking for better days here, and he's looking so far maybe not as fast as he was at Auto Club, but still solidly in the top 10 right now. As it looks like green flag pit stops are about to begin. Leaders are going to stay out, but starting to see some of those guys maybe a little bit further back start to short pit just a little bit. I saw Eric Gerwitz. He had a pit stop, but I think that was because he slammed the wall in turn 1, so I believe he's going to be our first retirement of the race, as we're still waiting for a lot of other drivers to come down. That's Eric Hutton, who's one of the closer front runners to come in.
Eric Hutton starting it off, and maybe he saw the benefits of Joseph McWhorter's move, trying to short pit. Maybe he's going to try the water. Just so sorted right now with this field. They're about lap 31 on their tires to 35. That's about the spread here, so you'll see Alex Bell and these guys, Jeff Wright, they'll pit a little bit later than Hutton. I don't know that the 32, he's down in the pit road, yeah. So he's really shortened these up compared to everybody else. That's a double for him on 32 laps.
It's a little surprising he did it again because he already gained a decent amount of track position. I would have just kind of tried to get back on cycle. Ray Massey's short pit as well, understandable for him, but the 32/73, he made up his track position short pitting. Kind of surprised he did it again, but we'll see what type of ground he can make up doing it 2 times in a row. As trying to see if any other front runners are coming in. Doesn't look like really anyone else came down that lap. Reggie Ortega does come down, kind of on his own here. Once again, another short pitch strategy. Michael Kostek from 16th as well.
Michael Kostek just behind him. I believe that's Stephen McDonald, yes, in the 68 machine. Adam Lange, a name we haven't mentioned at all tonight's race, currently in the 16th position. Just caught my eye. I saw that Carl Edwards / Tony Stewart paint scheme. Always liked the Office Depot. Liked it better when it was on the 99, though.
Looks like he's going to come down to pit road as well on cue. I think that's more of a Stewart throwback. We can call it Carl because it's on a Gen 4. Not too many other front runners came down that time. Taylor Butcher Benjamin came down from 7th. Weekly, Jonathan Smith, Lange obviously comes down. Travato comes down from 3rd, and he's going to spin out on pit road, and he tapped the wall maybe, and the issues continue for him.
Well, he did it in Auto Club, and he came back. It's going to be a long recovery, though. We've stayed green this entire time, coming up on lap 70. Ray Massey, another one of those cars that did exactly that. Let's go back and take a look at that if we can really quickly.
Try to keep an eye on pit stops. Bailey Turner comes in. Cockrell in the wall, but only a slight tap. Chad Klinger is going to come in, but you can see Travato, he never had the car under him whatsoever. He was just trying to fight it to the very end. It could never fight it. I don't think he actually hit the wall, so he might have gotten away with it. Alex Bell just maybe got away with it. We'll see if he gets a speeding penalty for that, but a lot of other front runners, came in there as Cofield, Bell, and Klinger all came in before Jeff Wright. This is something Jeff Wright kind of got away with. He didn't ever really get shortcut by anyone directly behind him, so this is completely different from Auto Club, as I think he has to respond here. Yes, he does.
Yeah, 48 coming down pit road this time by and clean into the entrance. Making me nervous, guys. Making me nervous. I've seen a handful of the top 10 already having problems here tonight on pit road, so. And speaking of just what a recovery here, Chuck Sweeting gets it down to 1.6, 2.5 seconds here as they enter pit road. So Chuck found his way into the top 5, now finds his way into the top 3. It's going to be interesting to see where he cycles out.
Meanwhile, another incident, well, I wouldn't say incident, but another mistake. Alex Bell, I thought he was pretty squarely on pit road. He definitely got caught speeding because he's been in his stall for a while. So 15 is going to be down to order a pretty tiny bit as the 48 comes out of pit road. Eric Hutton, who really short pit him, is going to fly by him, but the real test is how much ground Chad Klinger gains on that 48 machine, and he's going to easily get him as well on pit exit. That's the battle I'd be looking at between a 09 and a 48. There goes Chad Klinger to what could be the effective lead.
For these guys, now 3 different cars that are ahead of Jeff Wright. Joseph McWhorter is ahead of Eric Hutton, who's ahead of Chad Klinger. Jeff Wright getting more and more cars in front of him. That's going to make this, even though he's got the tire advantage, it's going to make it tougher for him because these tires are going to even out after 10, 12 laps. It's going to create a situation where Jeff doesn't have that clean air like he's had all race long, and he might have to settle back here in the second, third position.
Yeah, I don't believe he's going to settle for that. We'll just have to wait and see if these tires.
No, he's not going to give up. He's not going to give up by any means, but it just might be one of those situations where the tires are just so evened out, it's going to be impossible for him to get around.
Would never doubt the 48, but we'll see if the tires do even out. I'm not sure if they really ever did. It seemed like McWhorter just continued to kind of fall off at the same rate. It seemed like he never was able to have him even out really compared to Jeff Wright. His last time before his pit stop was a 32 flat. Jeff Wright at that point was still maybe about a half a tenth to a tenth faster. So I could definitely see compared to those times, definitely evens out a little bit, but that pace advantage from the 48 never really went away. So we'll just have to see if it's a similar situation to that.
Well, as before with McWhorter, not quite the same gap. Also to consider, Jeff Wright is 5 seconds behind this time after those green flag pit stops compared to the 1.5 seconds that he came out the last time on there. So it goes McWhorter, Hutton, Klinger, your top three. Jeff Wright in the fourth position. And then Taylor Butcher Benjamin up in the top five. AJ Stravado, he didn't lose as much as Ray Massey did with that spin. He's back in the sixth position. But still, nonetheless, 9 seconds back from the leader.
I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. I thought he'd be much further back, but he's still got a chance to maybe get back into the top five. It's kind of incredible, but you could just go back to think where he could be finishing if he didn't have these spins. It's quite incredible he is still sixth. He's got a decent gap to Carwell and Ortega, and that would be a battle for position. That is for seventh. And then it's Eddie Smith on the top, who is, I can't tell, I think he short pit these guys by a lot. He pit around lap 60, so much earlier than these guys as he starts to fall back as Ortega, Cofield get by. Also Daniel Cunningham, who's a lap down at this moment.
So Cofield, we were talking about him earlier, goes around for the ninth position. Eddie Smith has 15 laps on his tires, as opposed to Jonathan Cofield's 6 laps. So that's not evened out at all. Eric Hutton, 11 laps. Joseph McWhorter, also 11 laps. Klinger and Wright, they're even on tires. So I think Klinger is going to be the guy that's going to hold Jeff up the longest.
I would think so. He's got a lap older tires, so they're pretty darn even. You could tell, Jeff Wright's going to try to push hard right now to get by him as quickly as possible because he knows the 09 is probably the biggest threat to his chance at a win. So he's going to try to get him now, but you can see the 09, how strong he's been through 3 and 4. He's able to maintain through 3 and 4, but Jeff Wright gained a lot last time through 1 and 2.
The closest battle on the racetrack is actually between these two right here. Third position up for grabs. Jeff Wright trying to get it, and I say that, and then we have Hunter Johnson going around Eddie Smith. Smith and those older tires starting to fall out of the top 10.
Caution.
And that's Bailey Turner.
Bailey Turner on his own lookout. Oh my goodness. He almost got Stephen McDonald as it's kind of gone sour from the very first set of stops.
Yeah, and it's just getting worse for Bailey, but let's see if he had some help. We're going to go back on the instant replay here.
Ooh, this is...
I believe that's Alex Bell behind him.
They had contact on pit road. And there's more
and
contact.
They're having some more contact on the track. And 3. Oh, wow. I saw that one.
That was...
Oh, boy.
Well, there was clearly a disagreement on what happened on pit road. We'll leave it at that.
I think we're going to go on board with Alex Bell and take a little glance at what direction that steering wheel was going.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. Hey, these cars get very loose. Let's remember that.
Yeah, he was just trying to catch it.
Yeah, let's see right here. Bang, bang. Oh, that is 90 degrees.
That's a lot of, well,
that is Bailey Turner. Oh, no, that was Bell. He did have a half spin himself. Whoa, that was very, very close. That was the Office Depot machine. That was Adam
we'll
Lamb.
Get one more angle here.
Everyone comes down, by the way. Really no surprises.
Oh, that's...
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he really lost the handle of that car, I would say.
Yep, it got really loose.
Oh, man, that is definitely a disagreement on what happened on pit road. Speaking of pit road, that is going to work out really well for Joseph McWhorter, who's going to be able to maintain the lead and had even tires. Jeff Wright did not have a good sequence there. He's going to drop to, I think, 6th place here. That was not a good sequence there. That's going to really throw a wrench at things.
Yeah, Jeff Wright, unfortunately, gets beat out of pit road by another car, an additional car, and I think that was AJ Stravado that won some positions. Look at that recovery for the 33.
What's funny about those two just brought out the yellow. They're in line for the wave around, so they're going to be able to do this all again.
That might have been part of it.
Yeah, that was all part of the plan for sure. I have no doubt in my mind.
The Turner bringing it back down pit road, going to try to repair some of that damage, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. You're watching V-Speed Saturday Night Racing League at Las Vegas. We'll be back right after this. Just to clarify, I never did learn the difference between yellow and green, so it's still up there. It is yellow flag under caution for the first time here tonight at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Joseph McWhorter takes over the lead, and Jeff Wright falls back to the 6th position. But we're coming off of turn 4. Pace Truck's going to make that left-hand turn, and we're going to get going green for the second time here tonight. Right, losing a lot of spots after all these pit stops, and loses one more under caution. Green flag up in the air, Geico restart zone, and we're back live and racing with Joseph McWhorter leading him into 1. Whoa!
Oh, that was Lange in the wall, I think. I think that's who I saw up there. Didn't look like he hit it hard, but most a lot of the time, everyone keeps it straight. As I was really noticing Eric Hutton with a big dive before he even got to turn 1, trying to get under Chad Klinger.
So here's Eric Hutton on the inside of Klinger. He's got Stravato in front of him. They're pushing hard on these new tires, using them for what they're worth. Hutton not able to go anywhere. Stravato not able to clear Klinger, and that's going to kind of stagnate Jeff Wright, playing into his favor. He gets around the 10 car quickly. Now he's starting into this mix.
Yeah, he dropped back to 6th. Butcher Benjamin had really nothing he could do there. As meanwhile, this is exactly what Joseph McWhorter is going to want to see side by side for that runner-up position, but that dissipates quick. Klinger gets by the 33, back to the front, as there's a lot. All these restarts and these Gen 4 cars going to make things pretty wild. Eddie Smith, Hunter Johnson going back and forth. We're talking about how Eddie Smith was falling back on old tires. That's really going to benefit him and put him in the top 10.
Reggie Ortega side by side with the 10 of Benjamin. This is for the 6th spot. Use them while you got them. These tires have faded out so quickly, and while we were on commercial break, you asked me the question and kind of hinted, I wonder how Jeff Wright is going to do now with traffic. And the lack of track position with that clean air, it looks like Jeff's kind of went stagnant here. He's kind of stuck in the 5th position.
Still pretty early in this run, but we'll just have to wait and see. He had not been in a position where he had to pass anyone. He got the Chad Klinger, but he never really had an attempt to pass him, never got under him or anything like that. So he got 1 position on the restart, which is, restarts, it is what it is. But now he's got 4 other fast drivers he's going to have to deal with on even tires from here on out. No more tire strategy, really. It's pretty much hit at a specific number, and you make it to the end. So McWhorter, maybe he short pits again, but Jeff Wright doesn't have much he can do here.
Back. Big battle here. Looks like the 56 of Loveland in the middle of it. Almost 3 wide, and there's the 24. Bailey Turner, he scored 1 lap down, but he's going to try to go get it the old-fashioned way, picking these guys off.
I don't think you'll have time to get the old-fashioned way, but hopefully he's not part of the caution and takes away his lucky dog. He is the only driver really eligible for it. The only driver a lap down that is still on track is that 24 machine, which is probably why he took the time to get the left front repaired. So we'll see if he's able to do that, see if he gets a little bit fortunate as the battle for second still heats up. Stravato and Klinger are side by side again.
Stravato running a little bit higher line, and that's kind of the defense that Jeff Wright was playing on Klinger when he tried to battle for the lead earlier in this race. And you can see, same product, 09 just not able to get that run off the corner, and the 33 prevails. Joseph McWhorter, though, now that we have the tires evened out, he's looking like a genius to get that track position with the short pitting.
We really only would have taken the 1 yellow for him to get that track position, and honestly, he was so far out in front, he might have maintained it before we got the pit stops for the final time under green, but regardless, it's going to work out for him. He's got the lead, but he does not have as big of a lead as he had. That 33 we've been talking about, he's another one who kind of got a gift. He spun on pit entry. He was able to stay 6th, but now he's runner up again, and he's going for the lead.
He's on the preferred line here on the exit of turn 2. Run down the back straightaway. Maybe a change for the lead as they go into 3. McWhorter's going to fight the bottom, but a lap car, possibly a pickup here in front of him.
And Mark Fadden, who's kind of been a little bit off tonight just because of performance. He pit last lap, which is why he was off kind of speed a little bit as these two go side by side for the lead. He's going to have to choose which line he tries to see if he wants to get out of the way. He should have the opportunity to. These drivers being side by side is bringing Eric Hutton into it.
Eric Hutton now starting to catch up and possibly going to follow suit with Stravado, and the 32 knows that he saw that happen and he dropped in line. Cut that right off, but AJ Stravado taking over the lead on lap 90. He did lead that last time by. Now securely in the lead in front of Joseph McWhorter, and Jeff Wright trying to pick it back up, take it back. It's a tall order here. I think he'll start picking them off here in a couple laps, but it's going to be tough.
Whoa, big slide by Stravado. He tried to shut the door on McWhorter, who went to the top through 1 and 2, and he was able to do it, but the 32 cut him a huge break there.
We just got it on the instant replay really quickly. It's not done yet either. These guys still right on top of each other as they go into 1 and 2.
You can see Stravado is not giving him the outside into the corner. As a matter of fact, he's giving him dirty air. He is not letting him go for the right rear again. He knew that was a mistake he made, not letting it happen again. Hutton took a look to the bottom. He's not going to do anything with that.
I thought Hutton was going to get him with Stravado up there giving the 32 dirty air. I thought it would be a good enough advantage. We got to spin over. Where is that? Is that Eddie Trejo? The 21 machine. We're going to stay green, though. He's going to lose a ton of spots. I think he spun from about the 17th position, falls back to 25th.
Big right front damage. That might have been a product of someone else getting loose, because he definitely didn't hit the inside wall. As Battle for the Lead's still going, though. McWhorter's kind of edged out as we look at this replay real quick, as those two pretty much still the way they were.
He's down here on the bottom as they exit turn 2, and this is about where it happens. Oh, the 20 gets into the wall and comes down into him. O'Leary bounces, and the 21 did a great job to keep it off the inside wall.
Yeah, that was actually a really solid save. I thought it was a spin. No, it was not. That was a great save, but a lot of damage from just a tap of the doors. But meanwhile, as we're looking at that replay, McWhorter took the lead back, and now Stravado's on the defensive.
We're going to have to add a bookmark for that one. That was a heck of a pass for the lead. Stravado looked like he might have made a mistake there off of 2. Now almost 3 wide with Jeff Wright, and Stravado almost clips the wall.
Oh, and Wright almost clipped him. He's trying to look 3 middle. These guys are trying to look for any lane possible, as now they're 2x2 battling. Now McWhorter, who looked like he was going to be falling back, he's getting a lead again.
Stravado got that gift. Let's not make another situation out of it. Oh, man. Klinger right up on the bumper now. Jeff Wright gets around to the inside for 3rd position. What happened to AJ Stravado?
I don't know. I thought he was going to try hard to not let the 32 under him, but not to let the 32 on his outside. But I think McWhorter just pretty much thought, all right, I'll pass you on the inside anyways, and he did just that. And Stravado had nothing to defend with, and he looks like he has nothing to defend with right now. And it's dropped him all the way back to 5th after being the leader. Car on the wall back there. I think that was Hunter Johnson, but he keeps it straight. Really no issues there. Stravado was looking really solid, and he's falling back all of a sudden. This has helped Jeff Wright get back to 3rd.
Do you think maybe a possibility of going up there to grab the lead burned up that right rear, and now he's starting to feel it?
I'd be surprised if it happened that quick, but it's very possible. It was only 10 laps, but it's possible. You try to push so hard to get a position, and after you get it, you feel the car's completely gone. That could easily happen, especially in these Gen 4 cars with the right rear. Can't drive off the corners like he needs to. Even the right front, if you're pushing in the center of the corner, that right front could go, and you'll have nothing to push within the center, have no throttle in, throttle out. You'll have no speed, and that definitely could have contributed to him falling back this far. He's almost losing 6th to Ryan Carwile.
So Jeff Wright starts in 6th position on the restart, picks up 1 immediately. We had Stravado, who kind of bunched up everybody, and Jeff Wright was right there to pounce, takes away another position from Chad Klinger. Now finds himself in 3rd. Will he start to work on Eric Hutton, though? 99 laps in the books, coming up on 40 to go. Jeff's in the right position now. Does the 32 short pit, or do they stretch this run to exactly the halfway? Do you split it? I don't know what the strategy is here for McWhorter.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because short pitting has gotten him to here, but you short pit from the lead as Hutton goes to the bottom for the race lead. It kind of opens the door for everyone else to go a little bit longer and just get way fresher tires to the end. And that's the important part. This is the run to the finish. You want the freshest tires. As Stravado and Carwile go side by side as well, but It's going to be tough to do from the lead, but if he's not in the lead, he might not have to deal with that as Hutton. They get squeezed together out of turn number 4 as Hutton slides, and look at the run the 48 has.
The 88 of Hutton got really loose off the exit of 4. And that's a teammate behind him, so I'm sure that Jeff Wright wants to see the 88 get up there and lead a lap. But it's going to be tough. Can't hold it down on the bottom,
man.
and they're sideways off of 2.
This is exactly what Jeff Wright was going to wait for. He was not going to challenge Hutton. He's going to wait for Hutton to challenge McWhorter and then take advantage of that to get to the outside line. That's exactly what he's going to be doing here. And Hutton's going to fall back to 3rd, maybe 4th, because, yeah, Chad Klinger's still there.
Everybody's seeing the opportunities, and they pick the line that's moving the longest. It's kind of like sitting in traffic on the interstate. You see the left-hand lane move, so you go over there and you follow them for about 20 feet. Then you realize the right-hand lane went 16 cars, you know. So that's essentially what you're doing right here, just doing it 190 miles per hour.
Yeah, and usually don't pass on the right lane, but Jeff Wright's trying to kind of oppose that law, but he's not able to do it through 1 and 2. It's pretty much runs the same line as McWhorter through 3 and 4. Gets a big run on Hutton, who did not get a good exit. He's going to fall back to 4th here. Also update, Carwell did get 5th from Travado, so what looked like to be a really strong run for Travado is kind of going away here with no long run speed, as look at the run Jeff Wright got on the bottom to challenge for the lead.
Here they come off of turn 2, side by side down the back straightaway. Jeff Wright going to hold it down there. Klinger now seeing the exact same opportunity as before. Follow Jeff Wright through this traffic. 32 putting up a good fight there on the outside. He'll lead this time by. McWhorter holding on to the lead, but for how much longer? Jeff Wright has been dominant tonight.
He might not be able to hold on much longer. We'll see what launch Wright gets on the bottom. Not as good as last lap, and that's 32 will have the runoff of turn 2. And you know Chad Klinger's hoping the 32 McWhorter can prevail. He's thinking, yes, let me pass that 48. It's going to be for the win at some point. Meanwhile, the halfway point in this run's probably only 6 laps away, and the guys behind all this might be thinking if they undercut, they can get this race win.
Yeah, and they're starting to catch up to this pack. You're watching the 81 of Ryan Carlisle. He's caught up to this top 4. And this has allowed Travado to catch back up, recover from whatever tire wear he was having to right loose again off of turn 2.
Quote Darrell Waltrip, this is the ingredients for a 5-car wreck. Look at these guys all over the racetrack.
There in the middle, and he's loose off of 4. Wow, I saw the tire smoke, and he almost loses it. That opens up the door now for Carlisle to take 4th.
And Wright did not get a good run out of 4. He's going to have to get back in line. I think he saw what was happening. Chad Klinger was going to take advantage. He's just going to get back in line and forfeit the position for the race lead for now, as he's just going to defend from a 0-9. Klinger, wow.
Almost clipped the wall there. I think he might have brushed it just on the edge of the barrier with the right rear, but Hutton's starting to look really loose as this run goes on.
Oh, Klinger's going to pit. That was way earlier than I was expecting, but he's going to pit from the battle for the lead.
Well, this throws everything out the window. That's 26 laps, but I thought they would stretch it a little bit further.
I did too. I thought we had the yellow around 79. They pit around lap 80. The logic dictates the halfway point would be around 110. So that's a big undercut to have happen. I believe the 11 came in. Eddie Smith came down as well. So that could be something that comes in play as well. No one else is going to respond to that. So Chad Klinger's, yeah, he's going to have fresher tires now as, who's that? Tim Downey pulls off, but he's going to really be struggling. I like to play offense at the end of these races, and that 09 is going to be playing defense.
Yeah, but in the same situation, you saw how McWhorter went from outside the top 10 all the way up to the lead. It could be one of those situations where these guys just can't catch him in time. He did have a little bit of a rough entry on pit road because he was hung up on the outside, but we'll have to see as this race ticks away. 108 laps, 109 now. No one has been able to get around Joseph McWhorter, though. With all this chaos that's been going on, McWhorter's been holding on to the lead.
And look at who's up here now. Ryan Carlisle came from all the way back there. He just passed Hutton for 3rd. Now he's battling these two as Wright's going to go to the bottom. I would not be surprised if Jeff Wright's going to go to the bottom just to set up the undercut so McWhorter can't beat him to pit road. But it's not going to be this time as he slides on the bottom out of turn 4. Look at the run Carlisle has.
Still holding on to it. Carlisle's, he's working the outside. We haven't seen a lot of guys running that higher groove through both corners. They've just a great run. He's rubbered it up pretty good, and I think the 48's going to struggle. A loose again. Now the 81, he might get around the outside of Jeff Wright. If I'm Eric Hutton right now, I'm thinking, hey, let's bring it down pit road, short pit these guys a couple laps.
All right's going to come down, and Hutton. Hutton, I don't know if
not
he's going to make that. Oh, got to watch pit speed. Everyone came down there. Butcher Benjamin, excuse me, and Reggie Ortega, Cofield Johnson. That was a lot of them. You think that's got to bring down McWhorter, and all of a sudden, the short pitters became the short pitty.
Yeah, and then we got Carlisle, who potentially could take the lead depending on what he does here. He's undercutting the 32. And he's not announced a pit. I don't think that
yes, he has.
McWhorter. Okay, so the 81 is coming down. McWhorter, I was wondering if McWhorter was coming down pit road. He's going to stay on another lap.
Stravado just spun again on pit entry.
This time he does hit the wall.
Not as hard, but 2 times in a row. My goodness, it's his 6 hours of the Glen stint all over again.
Locks it up again, and that time it just looked like hard lockup on the rear tires.
It looked like the same, almost similar. He started weaving, he never had control of it, and just loses it. It is so unfortunate as McWhorter's going to stay out again. I really cannot believe that he's doing this, but I was talking about how I like offense over defense. Maybe he's trying to go for offense instead of defense to the end here.
Well, McWhorter had the track position. He's led a considerable amount of laps here, 45. I believe that'll put him over top of Jeff Wright, who has only led, well, he has 61. Okay, so Jeff did recover. Last I checked, I thought he had 44. Now McWhorter bringing it down pit road. He's got to be perfect.
Yes, he's one thing that's kind of given him those big leads after undercutting. He has been so smooth on a pit entry and exit, as you saw right there. He had absolutely no bobbing and weaving on pit entry, absolutely smooth.
Let's see the 32. If he can hit his stall perfectly, this could be the perfect chance to recover and play some offense. Ray Massey, your leader, hasn't brought it down pit road. I believe he's going to bring it down this time by as you see the 24 go by. That's Bailey Turner who's staying out. He's back on the lead lap. He's trying to get that lap back, but I think Jeff Wright's going to take that back.
He's hoping for that yellow. We'll see if he gets it. Hopefully he and Alex Bell will find cross paths again, as we'll see what happens. As trying to look at what would be the effective lead, Chad Klinger has got probably a straightaway over Jeff Wright, but the tire difference is going to be about 5 laps, and that should close up decently quickly, as Turner is not going to play the long game. He's going to come down and just concede that lap. As still waiting for a few drivers to come in. Lakatos is still out there. Massey obviously pit. Jonathan Smith pit. Weekly pit. So it's really just Casey Lakatos out here trying to hope for a yellow himself.
I'm waiting for timing and scoring to catch up because they're talking about Casey Lakatos, and it's about 4 seconds back as my timing and scoring does catch up. 4 seconds from Chad Klinger to Jeff Wright. What happened to Joseph McWhorter?
Well, that's the product of staying out, I would say. I don't believe he sped in any way, shape, or form. Just he pit that much later, and it made that much of a difference, old tires versus new tires. And now, whatever advantage he has to use every part of it now to try to catch those two.
I'm running out. 117 out of 140 has begun. Casey Lakatos still out there on the track. Chad Klinger going to resume the lead if Lakatos pits within, I'd say, the next, however long it takes Jeff Wright to catch him. Will that happen, though? Wright's shaved about 3/10 off of it that time by.
Here comes Lakatos this time, so he won't stay out much longer. And that will give the lead to Klinger. Wright's there. Also, Ryan Carlisle's there, and I believe his tires will be at least a lap fresher than Jeff Wright's, but that won't make much of a difference to the end here.
Yeah, and I think the situation that we had earlier with everyone being on even tires, Jeff Wright trying to get around the 32, now in the situation where I would have to say that Joseph McWhorter's chances of winning this race, unless we have a caution, are pretty much gone there. Just staying out a little bit too long.
And it's kind of what we saw from Joshua Banks last week. He kind of stayed out a lap too long, and he did not have enough time to catch Jeff Wright. And that's likely going to be the case again. We'll have to wait and see, but he lost a lot more time than I thought he would. It was about 5 seconds last time by, and right now to Jeff Wright, it's, I would say, about 4.3 seconds. So gaining, but he does not have much time to do this. And we talk about the evening out of the tires. It's not going to happen in a long amount of time. It's going to happen pretty quickly.
So 12-8 on the stint. And you're watching on board with Jeff Wright right now. Calm and collected. He's been in these situations before. Trying to chase down Chad Klinger. Ryan Carlisle having a breakout race, but Eric Hutton chipping away just a little bit here this time by.
How about Taylor Butcher Benjamin, though, in the top 5 again? Kind of just creeping his way up here. We'll see if McWhorter gets there, but still a really solid run for the 10.
Reggie Ortega, Chuck Sweeting. Great races for them as well. Solid. And thankfully, Chuck, no problems on pit road here tonight.
Yeah, and it off cleanly as he's, once again, it seems like every time we look at him, he's passing Reggie Ortega. An unsponsored car passing a sponsored car. What does this world come to as they stay side by side? Actually, but a side draft from Ortega. But these two have been together all night long battling for this position.
75 down on the bottom. It's good to see Chuck Sweeting, no slouch. I've raced with him as one of the few guys on this track that I have raced with, and I can tell you the 75 is bad fast. Unfortunate where he started, though. 22nd. It's a lot of cars to pass. Worked his way up it and trying to get by Reggie Ortega for 6th position, but now joining the party, Joseph McWhorter. He says, knock, knock. I have fresher tires, and I got to go back to the lead. And I'm running out of time.
Oh, man. I figured he would force the issue there, and he did. He's going to get below both of those guys. It's going to help Chuck Sweeting get the position for Ortega. He's going to lose it right back to McWhorter here. As that battle for the lead, that lead shrinking more and more the lap before.
He's loose.
Oh, wow, that was, yeah, you could tell this is going to be a struggle for Klinger to the end. Just what I said, I want to be on the offensive. I don't want to have to defend to the end on older tires, and he's losing. The time before, it was half a second per lap, and actually the last 2 laps, it was half a second per lap. So how much does he really have to defend here with?
He's lifting out of the throttle hard to just get off the exits. It seems like that car is upset. He drove it hard. He got the position, but Chad Klinger is losing ground to Jeff Wright in the closing stages of this race. He's losing ground to Ryan Carlisle as well. Carlisle has pulled away from Eric Hutton and has a pretty secure hold on the 3rd place position of about 0.8 of a second. So the 81 looking like he might get a podium here tonight.
Race for the win isn't over yet. He could still get to Jeff Wright, but what he has to have happen here is Chad Klinger defend the heck out of the 48. I'm just not sure if he can really do that. We'll see what he can do here.
Man, it's going to be a handful off of 4 right here for
it
the
might
09.
be over right here.
Yeah. Not able to hold it down there. If he put any more wheel into it to try to pinch him down, he would have went sideways. And I think Chad's going to be happy with a top 5 here tonight, but if he pushes it any harder, he's going to lose it.
Yeah, that could be the race for one right there. But Joseph McWhorter is making pretty good gains as he's now to Eric Hutton. As you see in the back of the screen, he's under the 88. They're obviously going to race him hard. It's for position coming to 15 laps to go. But that's going to put McWhorter back into the top 4. Carlisle still a little bit further up the road. He'll probably get to Chad Klinger first, but that 48 is going to get as big of a gap as he can right now.
And Chad Klinger, the guy that probably burned all he had, now running the high line. He's letting the 81 down to the bottom, but like I said, I think right now if you're Klinger, you're just going to try to focus on staying in that top 5.
That's about all he can do, I would think. He's got a decent gap to be able to do that. 6th place is about 2 seconds back, and Butcher Benjamin maybe 2-3 tenths faster, so it could be possible to do that. I just think he's going to really be kicking himself strategy-wise. I just thought even from the beginning it was earlier than he needed to come, and it's not worked out, and he burned him off too early in this run. If he had tire to battle with, it could have been a different story, but it seems like he pushed a lot early in his run when he was on his own, and it did not work out.
So Jeff Wright, 0.6, 0.7, give or take, ahead of Ryan Carlisle. This time by. Jeff Wright with a 31.570. Carlisle with a 31.4. So a little bit of time being shaved off of there, but it's like you said, he just finds another leg. Right now, he might be saving that leg.
Yeah, he ran a 5.7, Carlisle a 4.1, McWhorter a 3.0. So all three of these guys are going to converge on one another at some point, as now the top three are completely different tire strategies.
We're back to it like we saw in the first half of this race. Just different pit strategies, different driving styles, different tire conservation, and that's what put Jeff Wright on top. So that's why he's back in the lead, because he's done all those things correctly all night long.
Caution's out, wreck on the front straightaway, and it's Hunter Johnson. Oh my goodness.
The Ricky Craven throwback machine sideways and has a little right front damage. Let's see if we can figure out where he got that. I'd say a portion of it came from the wall. Let's see if he had some help here.
And I hate to be greedy, but that was going to be really good between those three. But we'll see what happened to Hunter Johnson to put us under only our second caution. Wow. Yeah, that'll do a big slide there, and he could never catch it.
Bouncing off that wall, probably knocked the toe out, so when he did catch it back, it just snapped loose, and we'll ride on board here with the 32 machine. You can see him chase this thing. He can block it all the way through 3 and 4.
He tried his hardest, and it wasn't possible at that point. There's nothing you can do when it gets that sideways into the steel wall there, concrete wall there. And as that happens, we were talking about last week at Auto Club, if you take 2 tires, 4 tires, or anything like that, we didn't get to see it. We get to see it tonight. Everyone, I think, only has this one set left, so do you use all of it? Not quite sure. Everyone's going to obviously take at least 4. Definitely, I wouldn't be surprised if some try 2 tires for track position here.
I don't know who has their face on their pit box, but that's clever.
I missed that.
It looks like the 4th stall. It might be Klinger, actually. No, it's further back than that.
Let's
Massey,
see.
Maybe?
Trying to see. Survey says, I'm sure we'll get to that.
Okay.
I didn't notice that. Oh, it's Jonathan Smith. That's
Okay.
pretty funny. We'll see. Let's get back to more important matters. Do we see 2 tires? Looks like everyone's on 4 Stravato. Nope, I think everyone took 4, but Jeff Wright still gets out first.
So the top 3 pretty much stay the same. Jack Klinger is thanking everyone.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say the same thing. That is a huge break for him.
He was in a bad situation, possibly going to fall out of the top 5. Now with a bailout with about 10 to go, Jeff Wright, he started this race in this exact scenario, was able to pull away. Ryan Carlisle, Joseph McWhorter, will they be able to get around him? Does anybody have anything for this 48 car? And speaking of brakes,
That guy, right there.
there it is. The 24 back on the lead lap. And if we have more cautions, we don't know. Bailey Turner could end up back up here in the top 5 in the closing laps of this race. It's not over.
Yeah, anything's possible. I've seen a bunch of stuff happen on iRacing, stuff like that. So you never know, but he'll get his fresh set of tires here. Also his last set, and we'll see what he can do. He could probably climb back into the top 20. He obviously had the speed. He just didn't have the track position anymore. So definitely something he will probably wish he had earlier, but what can you do at that point? As we get 2 to green, I assume here, as we should have a restart with 7 laps of racing to go.
Still lights on the pace car, unless I'm not caught back up. Yeah, I am caught back up to the live. I want to go back to the rewind margin. We were talking about some of these battles, and I just want to highlight, this is one of those battles that was happening earlier in this race. McWhorter, Stravato side by side, and this is the move that almost takes out the leader. And then they have a bobble down the backstretch, just chaos. It's been great to watch. I've had fun for every minute of it tonight.
The Auto Club was good. This is absolutely wild. They have been nuts tonight. Everyone in the top 5, right? Carlisle, Stravato. I mean, really unbelievable. The fact that they're on edge, racing like it's the last lap, every lap, and they have not crashed at the front yet. And keyword yet, because we're going to have 7 laps at the front.
But this is 7 more times to try to wreck them. And, it goes without saying, but this league, very talented. Kudos to these guys to do what they do. The race at Daytona to go, I believe, caution-free, if I remember correctly. So just an outstanding group of guys, and we've seen some talent. You've watched here on V-Speed. You've watched the BTDY. You see a lot of familiar names in here, so that a lot of that talent has carried over to this league, and we've got a mix of some other guys that are up here. And you've seen BTDY being led by Jeff Wright. Throw it up in chat if you're tired of seeing this 48 win. You want to see Ryan Carwile, Chad Klinger, somebody snag this away.
Hey,
put it up there.
I got my hands up. I got my hands up. It's only been like one race, but still. One race for me, because I'm always on this. But yeah, that 48's tough to beat. And we saw when he got in dirty air, he was able to get back up, but his progress was slow. But now he's back in clean air with clean tires, fresh tires. I don't know. It's going to be really hard for someone to pass him without there being contact.
Well, let's see what the restart holds. These restart zones have been tough all season. For every league that we've broadcasted, we've seen very few guys get the jump on the leader or hang with him into the entrance of one. The leader pretty much dictates these starts. Jeff Wright knows that elects to start on the outside of Carwile as they come around turn 4 for what could be the last restart of tonight. 2x2 all the way back to 28th position. Green flag up in the air. And we're back live in Vegas for the end of this event. Carwile is not going to start contact with the 32 and the 09's around. Klinger's going to take out the 2 of Ortega is involved. The 56. Big wreck.
Wow. That was either big wheel spin or a big misjudgment by Joseph McWhorter there. Chad Klinger's not going to be happy about that. I don't blame him. That is a shame.
Here we come back to the restart. A quick replay here. The 09 on the outside. I think a wheel spin here for the 32.
Let's see. I thought he might have been shooting the middle. That's wheel spin right there. And it was just the slightest of taps. Chad Klinger had nothing he could do. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, a good run. Chuck Sweeting spun there, but he actually might have gotten away without damage. That could have been much bigger than it was, and it was still a pretty big crash. Jeff Wright collects the pace car.
So caution number 3 of the night, the 09, and I just want to check in. Where was the 24 of Bailey Turner when this all happened?
He was restarting at the rear. I don't know how many positions he might have gotten, but there was a lot of drivers who barely got through that. The 33 Stravato, Chuck Sweeting spun, but he escaped with, I think, no damage. His 09 almost went over. Look at Bailey Turner's view. Oh my goodness, look out. That is a wild case Lacatus out of nowhere. They were still wrecking into turn 1. Couldn't see who that was around. Wow, that's as wild as it gets. That's why we said yet. We put yet into our sentences.
Yeah, and this kind of changes things because McWhorter is going to get the EOL for that accident. I believe he's going to take the responsibility on that one. Ryan Carwile in second. We didn't even get him up to speed. Eric Hutton back in third now, and Eddie Smith. How about that? The 11 car, who was on some different cycles and tires and kind of in and out of the top 10 tonight, now finds himself in the 4th position.
Yeah, and I wish we could get an onboard of what he saw, because his avoidance was absolutely nuts as well, and it's put him up the 4th position.
For sure.
And by the way, look who's behind him, Mr. Double Spin himself. AJ Stravato is back in the top 5 after all this, but let's see what Eddie Smith saw, because it was nuts.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that, and then he had to avoid Chuck Sweeting. That's nuts. There's no other way to put that.
I would say the 11 car, if you're him right now, you just used all 9 lives. You didn't hit a thing.
Oh my goodness, he really... God, I can't believe that. He's in Vegas. Play the lottery, do whatever you do in Vegas. I mean, That is insanity. Him and Travato barely got through that. Look, Ray Massey has a lot of damage, but even he's up into the 6th position after his spin on pit road. He's recovered. Look at all these drivers came from the back. We haven't talked about a lot. Caleb Weekly, we haven't mentioned him all night. Once again with damage, up to 7th. Alex Bell, his car's pretty clean actually, and he's up to 8th. And then Adam Lange, he saw him in the wall. He's 9th. The top 10's nearly completely different after you get past Eric Hunt.
I was wondering, though, because the 24 of Bailey Turner, he's going to be in 15th now. If we have another one of these incidents up here, Turner's slowly chipping away at this and able to navigate through the wrecks pretty well. This might be what he needs to get back to where he started tonight, in the 3rd spot for qualifying. That's all it takes. One little mistake, whether it's your fault, someone else's fault, whatever the case may be, the 24 has come from worst to recovery mode. He's in the right situation.
Right situation, no pun intended, as the leaders
boy.
get. Yes.
The right puns. We no shortage of those.
Yeah, definitely.
On the Tuesday
Especially-
nights.
Well, yeah, especially when he's leading on Saturday night. But yeah, very wild, and we're talking about that. It can get wild in a hurry. As we'll see if we get one to green here. We do. He will go bottom this time, as they'll put Carwell on the top and put Eric Hutton on the bottom behind the 48 to maybe get a good jump on that 81. So anything could happen here. We got the top 4. We got damaged cars in row number 3, and then after that, who knows? It's really kind of a guessing game at this point as to what's happening.
O'Connor, I've done the last 3-4 restarts. I think you take it away for this one, and it's going to be the good one. Hopefully it's the last one. Jeff Wright's praying it's the last one. He can run away with this thing. Ryan Carwile trying to take it away from him. Eric Hutton back up in the mix. Let's see if Eddie Smith's got anything for him. Your top 4. You're going to be able to throw a blanket over him for at least a corner. They're going to push it hard.
Yeah, we're going to have to see. I mean, the jump Jeff Wright got that time by on the top, he got away. He had no one. By the way, this is going to be a natural green-white checkered here. So 2 laps here to see what happens. But Wright got such a gap last time. I would be surprised if he didn't do it this time. But Wright and Carwell front row, Hutton, Smith, new players in that 2nd row, new players in the top 10 completely. I don't think we're done wadding some up yet, but we'll just have to wait and see. Jeff Wright's kind of dominated this one. He's got at least one more try run to get through in the Geico restart zone, and we got a green-white checkered on our hands, and Hutton is right away with the 48 into turn number 1, the 33 there as well. See what happens. Hutton's going to look to the bottom on the bumper of Jeff J right there, but not able to get to the bottom as the 33 of Stavato, not a good run through 1 and 2. Carwell on his bumper as the top 2 get away, and look at the run Eddie Smith has to the bottom as they're 3-4 wide down the back straightaway.
The backstretch, just total chaos. Alex Bell in the middle of it. He's trying to salvage this race, but he falls almost out of the top 10. These guys up on the outside. He's got Ray Massey with some damage. Eric Hutton swipes away the lead on the bottom for a brief second. All the way to the bottom for Hutton in 1 and 2.
And Wright's going to pinch him here, but the 88, I think he's got one of the preferred lines, but I know the 48 Wright, he's been good on the top. He's got the advantage in the 3 here. This could be one of those classic Las Vegas finishes.
Got the win at Daytona. Really loose off of 4. He almost loses the end of it, but he's still side by side as they come to the line, and it's going to be Jeff Wright by 0.05 of a second.
Oh my goodness, what a finish. And plenty of cars wadded up on the front straightaway. My goodness, what a finish.
Incredible drive. Jeff Wright had to hold on to it. It was never his race. It was never guaranteed. He earned it here tonight with all the restarts, the cautions, and AJ Stavato finishing it off for him, making sure that car can pass tech inspection.
Oh my goodness. By the way, the 24 and 15 had contact after the checkered flag as well. There was plenty of crashing off of turn 4, and even the leader gets crashed in the end of this one. But that was wild, absolutely crazy finish. And I said earlier, Eric Hutton kind of jumps out of nowhere, and he can win races out of nowhere. He almost did that tonight. just like he did at Daytona.
That's right, your race winner, burning it down with him. We're going to take a quick commercial break, interviews with your top three, and we're going to get another look at that last restart right after this. This is V-Speed, Saturday Night Racing League at Las Vegas.
Racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Taking a look back at this final restart. It fanned out. It was chaos. That's right. Starting beside Carlisle. And Eric Hutton right there to capitalize on that inside line.
Well, you could see what the plan was there. All 3 teammates lined up first, third, and fifth, and they all got the jump on Carwell and the rest on the top lane. But that almost gave Jeff Wright a little bit of a disadvantage on Eric Hutton, because Hutton gets the draft and the run out of turn 2 and lets him get to the bottom, as Stravato just did not have the grip to do so in 1 and 2 like the 88 did.
Well, here's the move by Hutton. He's going to dive it down into turn 1. And we were talking a little bit during that commercial break as they blink out here briefly. But we know that situationally, hindsight is always 20/20, but what would you have done differently there to maybe get this win?
Even though they're teammates, I wouldn't have given as much room. You can see he's giving about a car width to the 48. I'd be on his left rear all the way down the back straightaway, and then I'd be chasing him to the wall at a turn 4. But you can see Hutton's giving him as much room as possible because he's a teammate, slides the tires too much, trying to keep it low, and the race was pretty much over after the tire slide. But he gave it his all the way to the very end. It was still a wild finish. Speaking of wild, there's wild all the way back here. Look at all these crashes. Everyone pretty much crashed. Eddie Trejo's in there, McWhorter's in there, and the chaos and all that. Also, I think some 2 old friends kind of met again out of turn number 4 after the
something happened off of 4. I want to go back and look at that and see if we can find exactly what car that was. I think it was the 32.
It's like Hunter Johnson.
Max Cost was in it.
Ooh,
yeah,
that was a dump, but I think Hunter Johnson still gets that spot.
Cost here coming off of 4 is completely looped. The 21 on the bumper, but the 32, the
Ray
23.
Ray Massey spun on his own and set that off.
Yeah, Massey spinning.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that destroyed Cost's car.
Oh,
on board with him really quickly.
I think we got another big hit in there.
So there's Massey getting loose, and yeah, the 21 had nowhere to go. That little checkup. I don't know, man. It's just one of the circumstances.
That's the end of a race. You're not going to get many people lifting for that.
No.
Speaking of not lifting, if you look at Alex Bell, we kind of saw it in the background there. We see Alex Bell after the start finished. Just to kind of, I'd say there's still a disagreement. I think we'll chalk it up to that. This will be a very
camera angle.
Yeah, this would be a good view. Oh, there's Caleb Weekly. He had a good solid finish after all that. Oh wait, there's Jeff Gordon. Oh my goodness.
Just got Clint Boyard at Phoenix.
That's worse than Clint Boyard. It is the 15. Oh my God, it's a 15 and 24. Can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, it's just too real. It's too real. But hey, final result: Jeff Wright getting the win, and Eddie Smith getting 3rd. We're caught up with him down on pit road. Eddie Smith, out of nowhere in that top 3, man. The circumstances, the seas parted, and you were in the perfect spot there in that final restart to take it home to 3rd.
Yeah. How's it going, guys?
Going good, man. I think it's going better for you. You started back there in the 26th position. You passed 23 cars tonight. How do you feel, Eddie?
I feel like I feel like a fraud. I got lucky a lot of times. Started in the back, really couldn't make up any speed, so it was tried some weird pit strategy that somehow worked. Trying to short pit every time, like way short, enough that I wasn't gonna be able to make it to the end. I was gonna have to make one more stop, and it kept working out. Find myself around the top 10. Just couldn't really find the pace that I needed to move forward, and at the end. Somehow, I'm not really sure how, the seas parted, got up there and was able to get 4th and had a really nice last lap pass. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, worked around AJ Stravato to snag away that podium. And Eddie, we mentioned your name a couple different times tonight. It looked like early in this race, like you said, you were struggling a little bit. Was it the tire package? Was there maybe just a line difference, track not in the right conditions? There many factors in this car. What do you think was the most important one to master?
Just not prepared for different lines. Really committed to the qualifying middle line, putting the left front under the seam and just letting it rip in the middle of the corners. But I kept getting beat. It's really hard to say because I didn't get very many runs on the same tires because I kept trying to short pit to gain track position, starting in the back. And I was a little surprised how hard it was to make moves, even in the back. So I was trying to do some track position stuff by short pitting. So I'm not really sure. But I definitely felt like I had maybe a 15th place car with all the dust settled. So to come away with a 3rd, you can't ask for much better than that. Well,
the Denny Hamlin paint scheme paid off. We'll chalk it up to that. Don't feel fraudulent. You come home on a podium, wear it with pride, man. That's in this league with all the talent that's out there. That's a tough deal to get up there in 3rd. So Eddie, you got anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance?
Yeah, I'm unprepared. I don't know what to say. You can obviously tell I didn't have any answers or anything prepared.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands. So Thank Daniel Cunningham, Michael Kostick for inviting me, and y'all to put on a broadcast. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Eddie, and take care. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to you again sometime.
Yeah, see you later.
Third place finisher Eddie Smith, and I almost, while I was trying to grab a hold of him, I accidentally grabbed you, Connor, and well, don't file a restraining order, but catch up with Eric Hutton down there on pit road real quick for us.
Yeah, let's not bring restraining orders into it, but yeah, we are going to bring Eric Hutton up here. A pretty eventful second place finish for you, Eric. It almost ended up, I was talking about earlier in the race, how sometimes you kind of sneak up out of nowhere and end up taking the race win away, kind of like you did at Daytona. You almost did it again to your teammate Jeff Wright with a sort of bit of team play on that final restart. What went down to get you three, you, Jeff, and AJ so far out in front on that green-white checkered?
Yeah, Jeff's just a friendly teammate, giving us a little help there on that restart. Get us 1, 2, 3. But yeah, it was a fun race. Needed that last restart to get up there. The final run, I really killed my stuff. Just killed the fronts off it, and it was floating back. But yeah, another fun race. Fun race with Jeff again for the lead. We've had lots of good battles this season.
Definitely a good battle there, and obviously a pretty clean battle at the very end there, side by side for an entire lap, and it seemed like you two made sure to give each other plenty of room there. Looking back on it, obviously you try to race your teammates very cleanly. That's always been the case with you, but hindsight's 2020, obviously. But thinking back, do you think there was anything else you could do to take victory away from your teammate Jeff Wright tonight?
Yeah, I think out of 4, I was trying to hold it down a little too far, and that's what caused me to slide the rears and kill the momentum off the corner. So I could have I could have been up on him a little bit closer, I think, off corners and really everywhere that last lap. But wrecking a teammate would be really embarrassing, especially coming for the win there on the last lap.
Yeah, I've been wrecked by a teammate. It's not fun, so I fully understand that the clean racing's name of the game. We did a good job doing that. Also one last question. Obviously, you still got a near win there, but obviously a late pit stop there. Ended up having a restart with 7 laps to go. Was there ever a thought in any of your minds, even especially your mind, where 2 tires was even an option at all?
Maybe coming from the back of the pack just to make a net gain there on the end, but no, I don't think it coming there. The car was so loose already. If you drove it loose, it would, I think 2 tires would just exemplify that. So I would want 4 every time, but maybe somebody could try it.
Well, didn't have any tries tonight, and it works out for you. A runner-up position. Obviously, you have a lot of people on your side, and I know you have a lot of people to. At least you have some people to thank. I don't know if you're going to thank Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's. I don't know what your chicken sandwich affiliation is this week, but just go and shout out whoever you need to, Eric, after this good finish.
Well, I had a Chick-fil-A sandwich today, so
Oh,
shout out to
nice.
Chick-fil-A.
All right,
And
back on good terms.
yeah, we won in the base ugly scheme, so that's what you're gonna see all season. And coming out P2 again, so obviously we gotta keep this paint scheme. So no other sponsors this race, but appreciate everybody putting on the league and y'all for broadcasting it. It's been fun so far, just 3 weeks in.
And yes, shout out to your sponsors, iRacing sponsors, Junior Motorsports, and iRacing in general. So once again, solid finish. Top 2 finishes so far this season, looking fast. And that was in your only 2 starts this season, as a matter of fact. So good start for you. Good job, Eric. See you next week.
I appreciate it. We'll see you.
Yes, sir.
Second place finisher Eric Hutton, and we're catching up in victory lane with the beaten up Jeff Wright. 48 machine was looking good right up until AJ Stravado fixed it for you, but you get away with the win, and it was never guaranteed. Jeff, they threw everything at you, every situation, scenario. You had guys short pitting you. You had pit strategies even after the cautions. You had guys dive bombing you. What did it take to finish this deal?
Yeah, we got through. That's for sure. Yeah, it was crazy. Like you said, a lot of different strategies going on. I was, really interested to see how this thing was really going to play out had that gone green. Because I tell you what, Ryan Carwile, and Joseph McWhorter, they were coming fast. I think I looked down at the relative and I'd see they were 2 seconds behind, and before I knew it, they were within a second of me with like 10 to go. So, yeah, I don't know if we would have been able to win this race had that last caution actually not come out. Definitely would have been an interesting battle had we got that opportunity, but we were able to, get on and off pit road cleanly tonight, so that always helps a lot. And then, that last restart definitely made things entertaining with Eric Hutton, to my inside and, down the front straightaway with the white flag coming out. He had a good run on me, and so I moved up the track because I didn't want to, give him the top, just because trying to complete a pass on the bottom was really tough tonight. I struggled doing that with Chad Klinger. Thankfully, he was able to, just let me go a few times. But yeah, all in all, super fun race. Good turnout tonight. A lot of guys showing up tonight to race. It was a lot of fun, and this Gen 4 car's on edge all the time, so it's a blast.
We watched, and you kind of answered my question there with how it might have played out. McWhorter was catching you, Carlisle. Do you think that maybe McWhorter would have won this race had that caution not come out, or would you been able to fight him off?
Yeah, it's definitely possible that, that he could have won the race. It's hard to say without having that opportunity to actually race it out. I do know that the lead car definitely did have an advantage, just with having the clean air. Early in the race, I think Bailey Turner actually had saved his stuff probably a little bit better than I did early. But just because I had the clean air, I think I was able to stay ahead of him. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe they could have gotten around me. Maybe the dirty air would have been stopping their run so that they couldn't pass me. They could maybe catch me, but then getting around me, that's another thing. With the dirty air. So it's hard to say. I definitely, just based on their raw speed, those guys were definitely capable of winning tonight. We had probably, 10 cars maybe capable of winning tonight. There was a lot of fast guys in here tonight. It's unfortunate what happened to Chad Klinger. He was another guy that was really fast and then, got taken out on the last restart there. So he was going to be a factor, but super stoked to get the win because, you really never know, when the next one might come because we got a lot of competitive guys in this league. So, and I think we're going to see a lot of multiple winners this race season for sure. So, yeah, I think looking, towards the rest of the season, I think this thing is wide open for sure.
Well, you put the nail in the coffin for 2 on the West Coast swing, going to a road course next week. Could be a different winner, or are you going to dominate all 3? That's the last question I got for you.
It's anybody's game. I do really like Sonoma. It's one of my favorite tracks on iRacing. So, some people, they say, oh, Jeff's a road course ringer. Well, that's not really true. But I do like Sonoma. I'll go to other road courses and I'll struggle a lot. But Sonoma is just a place that I really enjoy driving and tend to have some success at. So, yeah, that's the goal. If we could go and sweep this whole West Coast swing. That'd be awesome. But, definitely not taking anything for granted out there. We got a lot of good road course drivers in here. AJ Stravado being a guy that comes to, to mind there. Bailey Turner, he's from the area, so it's maybe a little homecoming race for him. So he'll be competitive, and as well as a lot of these newcomers. So, it's anybody's game at this point.
Well, if that's all you got, that's all I've got. Go ahead and shout them out, Jeff. Congratulations on your win.
Yeah, thanks. Just big thanks to Harpoon Design, Tractor USA, Walk and Roll and Costumes, and then all the league members for supporting this league. Some people supporting financially with some donations. We really appreciate that. And then just everybody's support that's, able to come out here and, get really good size fields like this tonight and be able to put on a show. It seems like a lot of guys had a lot of fun tonight. So that always makes me happy, as being one of the co-league admins alongside Reggie and Chad and Brian Chambliss. So I know they're watching tonight or, we'll watch this back. And just hope we continue to have a good season here and just looking forward to get to Sonoma now.
Race winner Jeff Wright, back-to-back here at Saturday Night Racing. Congratulations, Jeff, and we'll see you next week at Sonoma.
All right. Thanks, Bradley.
So we had everything here tonight, Connor. I'd have to say in the variety of things, we never knew who was going to win this race at any point.
Not really. We had our comers and goers, and we had all our players. Jeff Wright obviously led half the race. He was fast the entire time. Eric Hutton, he really wasn't there till the end. Stravado looked like he could have maintained the lead, but he couldn't do it for a long time. Ryan Carlisle came from maybe middle of the top 10, and he had a really good run for the lead. Alex Bell, Bailey Turner were fast at the beginning. They had their issues, and I'm sure their issues would carry over into next week. But that's another conversation. Obviously, Chad Klinger did not get to finish he deserved. Neither did Joseph McWhorter, who looked like he could have dominated at some point. I mean, we probably had at least half a dozen people who could have won this race, and there was absolutely nonstop racing between those half dozen for 20 plus laps. Absolutely wild. 10 lead changes doesn't tell the story. This race was wild. 3 cautions doesn't tell the story either. The race and the finish was absolutely wild. Las Vegas is an underrated track, and with these Gen 4s, it performs. It does not get much more wild than that.
Top 10 here. Jeff Wright, your winner tonight. Eric Hutton second. Eddie Smith. Tricky. I like it. Don't feel like a fraud, Eddie. You did good. Third place for him. AJ Stravado, fourth position. Ron Carwile falls back to fifth, but solid night for him. Then you have Adam Lange in the 8 car. Caleb Weekly in the 13, 6th and 7th. Incredible day for these guys. Alex Bell holding on to the 8th position with, I think they went down to the garage area with the 24 team. You've got the 32 of Hunter Johnson in 9th, and rounding out your top 10, Casey Lakatos in the 50.
Hunter Johnson actually, he brought out the yellow that kind of started that all. It somehow did end up working out for him. But one person it did work out for, even though he had drama with Alex Bell. Bailey Turner, a lap down in 27th place, gets the lucky dog, climbs all the way up to 11th. Pretty wild stuff from him. The 20 machine, or one of the 20 machines we had out there tonight, Jonathan Smith, he ends up 12th out of nowhere. Eddie Trejo, who's, I believe, spun across the line 13th. PJ O'Leary in 14th position. Trying to go through the order here. Daniel Cunningham, 15th. Chuck Sweeting, he had a really solid run, but really didn't get the finish he deserved, surprisingly. I think that spin really hurt his tires on the big one on the front straightaway. He gets 16th. Joseph McWhorter, same thing. We know how fast he was. 17th place. Steve McDonald, Max Kost, Michael Kostek. Talked a lot about Kostek at Auto Club. He didn't see as much from him tonight. Unfortunately, he ends up 20th position.
Yeah, and that bottom 3 there in that top 20 got caught up in a big accident there off of turn 4 that put them back. 21st is going to be to the pin machine of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. 22nd will go to Reggie Ortega. Ortega, another one of those guys that got caught up there in that big wreck on that second to last restart. James Loveland, 23rd. Jonathan Cofield, 24th. Tim Downey, 25th. Ray Massey, a guy that started up towards the front. Unfortunate night for him in 26th. Mark McFadden, 27th. Chad Klinger, probably the biggest loss here of the night, all the way back to 28th. The rest of these cars did not finish the event. You have the 29th position of Clifton Cockrell, and the only Pontiac on the track. Put it behind the wall with about 68 laps left. Aaron Gerwitz going to come home 30th. And rounding out your field will be Lucas Loins in the 52. So again, I hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. The 48 gets another one. Jeff Wright, he's 2 for 3 in the West Coast swing. Can he get it done at Sonoma, or is someone going to snag it away? We've got a variety of different talented drivers that could take it away from him. Hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast of the Saturday Night Racing League. Tune in next week when we go road course racing. And we're going to be picking up. We've got season finales for you on Monday night with VSRL Truck Series coming to the end of their chase in the final race. And then it's BTDY with the second to last race. Picking up that Friday League here very soon. Elimination race for the VRX World Cup. That will be July 30th. Hope you guys can tune in. For everybody at V-Speed, myself, Connor Horn, Adam Baker, Alec Martinez, and everyone that puts this together, we thank you. Tractor USA, Harpoon Designs, walking and rolling. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out the 37.
Oh!
Cabot,
Where did he come from?
Here
comes Zwack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it all.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $400,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
2 to go. Is anybody going to try to maybe make a third line?
This race still very undecided.
The bottom lane just doesn't have enough cars now. The rules have been reversed.
They're running out of time and they know it.
How about Noah Mikulski in the L3? He can easily fit in this battle. The bottom surges to the inside. Now pulls even with Hutton off in turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.